Hi, everybody. I'm going to take you through some examples that I find very helpful from this tool right here, MLS HPI dashboard. I find it extremely helpful for dealing with differences of house types when I'm forced to, and dealing with different periods of time when I'm forced to perhaps reconcile. Why was it this price when I bought it, and now you're telling me it's only this price? And lastly, how I deal with different communities. Maybe I've got to use a slightly different community for a comparable. Is it a higher priced community or a lower priced community? And if so, by how much? So the MLS HPI dashboard, I'm going to leave it to yourselves to look up and understand this, but it is all the data. It's in a very sophisticated statistical model that is addressing not only median and average information on sale prices, resales, but also it is dealing with utility and many other components. So the first one, let's take a townhome and a semi-detached. Let's say my subject property is a townhome, and there's just not many townhomes in that community, and yet I don't want to stray from that community. And so maybe I'll consider a semi-detached as a comparable. Again, an attached property, freehold, but presumably I will find that a semi-detached is at a premium to a townhome. Let's see what we've got. We're going to start with performance over time line chart. We're going to choose all boards. No harm, just so you see this. This is picking up the Greater Toronto as well as other boards. We're going to take a single family attached, and we're going to take a townhome and apply that. So we've got multiple values. And then I'm just going to pick a community I'm somewhat familiar with, which is CO7 in Toronto. And I'm going to tick both and apply. What I've got, and I'm going to change this to a benchmark price. I'll leave it to you to read the HPI price, but the benchmark is closer to reality. And here you can see that townhomes seem to sell at a lower price than semi-detached. That's what we would expect. And if you're looking for, okay, what is the difference? Well, right here, you can see January 2024 in CO7, the benchmark for a semi-detached was 1.191. I'm going to click there. It's going to register that. And then I can go Control click, and I see that for a townhome, it was 858. That looks like it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% difference. You could see at one point that differential was much less, but at this point, it is quite dramatic. So there's one example, and perhaps I make an adjustment if I have to use a semi-detached to compare to my subject property townhome. I might make an adjustment in the neighborhood of this difference. Another example I'm going to take is, let's just come back and take one value. And I think we're going to hit cancel. No, we're going to do this. And you know what? Let's take a two-story detached, apply, and we're going to pick up, we had this CO7, where are you, Toronto? Doesn't seem to be ticked anymore. We're going to tick CO7. So let's say person, now we can play with this and move this along, so we're only looking at current information. We're back to 2018. We can see the impact of COVID right here. And let's say maybe the person bought it in 2022, May. It was pretty much at the peak then. And now I'm going to go control click, and you can see it's down 500,000. If you were buying a property in May of 2022 and CO7 detached, you're probably looking at a 20 to 25% decline to today's market. And putting this in the report can definitely substantiate your adjustment for an older sale, or at least reconciling perhaps the subject property. You're not going to go back 2 years for a sale, but if the argument is, hold on, I paid 2.5 for this property when I bought it, and now you're telling me it's worth, 2.1. Well, yeah, that's probably what the market evidence, the direct comparison approach, is going to tell you. But here you can sort of add further reconciliation support. The last example I'm going to take is different communities. I'm going to take CO7. Let's see how I do this. CO7. There it is there. And then I can go communities within that. I can go Lansing Westgate. There's Lansing Westgate. And then I could take another one. I think I could take North Town. Am I right in that? No. No. You know what? No, let's take C14. That would be interesting. Right now, what you've got is Lansing Westgate, which is a subsection of CO7, and you've got CO7. So if your argument is, hey, this is a premium neighborhood in CO7, that's what it appears to be for the most part. Didn't hold true here, but other than that time period and this time period here, Lansing Westgate tended to be at a slight premium to the total CO7. I'm going to get rid of the Lansing Westgate. I'm going to get rid of the CO7. No. I'm going to get rid of the Lansing Westgate if I can find it. There it is. And I'm going to put in C14, which is the other side of Yonge Street. So now I've got, maybe I'm forced to take a comparable that's on the east side of Yonge Street, and I'm forced to, not forced, but I find a good comparable on the west side of Yonge Street, but I know the west side is not as good. And what I'm seeing is exactly that. You can see C14 on the east side of Yonge Street. Here's where it's operating. I can click on there. And then on the west side of Yonge Street, which is CO7, I can click on there. And here you're seeing an approximate 300,000 difference. So we're maybe 12, 13% market difference for the east side of Yonge Street versus the west side. And again, this can be moved along here and looked at more closely, or taken back to see historically how has that performed. It's always performed at a higher price point on the east side of Yonge Street than on the west side. So I hope you'll find this useful. I encourage you to use the HPI tool, the MLS HPI tool, and I encourage you can very easily copy and paste these graphs along with your criteria into your report and substantiate. You just download it by doing this, choose a format to download. You can download as a PDF or I guess other. So I hope you find that interesting. I'm going to stop recording now.